Hey, Quentin, we are ready to start.
Unmute. Should be
All
good
right,
to
looks
go.
good.
Yeah, great.
Yes.
Fantastic. So thanks everyone for joining us this afternoon. Man, really appreciate everyone who gave us that feedback during the registration process. We shared a little bit of that with you. Really interesting topics that we have for you today, but most importantly, guys, again, appreciate the time you've taken out of your busy schedule. I know, at least speaking for myself, I'm sure for others on this call, man, I know, guys, we are just bombarded with the number of webinars that we're being asked to attend, but we really think that you'll get a lot out of this. We've got a lot of great information to really talk about something, guys, that we know is coming soon. Man, I think we looked at it today, maybe just 17 months away, but is the next sunset, that 3G sunset that we'll be talking about today. So, guys, just to give you a little idea of the agenda that we have for you today, guys, we're going to talk about some of our speakers that we have on the call here today. First of all, I want to say again, thank you to their participation. Guys, we're going to talk a lot about the risks that are associated with the sunset, and we're going to do this from maybe a little different angle. So I think as business owners, we've all thought about the sunset just from the standpoint of, geez, the manpower I've got to put out, maybe the cost involved in the goods that I'm going to have to purchase to take care of this. But there are some other risks associated that we're going to talk about a little bit. We're going to give kind of an overview of the sunset. Why do we keep seeing these things? Hey, we're going to talk about, hey, one of the first things that should be part of your plan as you go forward, which is how do you locate your 3G data? How many accounts do you have to go out there and swap? We're going to talk about some of the best practices. We're going to talk about other things to consider as we go forward here. And then again, our way of thanking you for taking time out of your day today is our BOGO offer. We're going to get you a buy one, get one on one of our LTE radios. So with that, hey, let me just introduce myself and Dean Bellau. My name is Quentin Gunther. I'm part of the RESIDEO Premier Security Dealer Program. I have the pleasure of managing a great group of guys we call our Dealer Development Group. Dean Bellau is part of that. Both Dean and I come from the dealer side. I was a dealer for 21 years. Dean actually came from Act Now Alarm in Detroit, Michigan. We both have at least a unique perspective in saying that we have been in your shoes. We know what these challenges look like on both sides of the fences. So again, we're really thankful for you allowing us the ability, or at least the opportunity, to share some of our insights. We also have a great group of guest panelists today, and I think one person may be having some technical difficulties today, right, Dean? We'll have to check on that in a minute, but we have John Loud. I think most of you on the call may know John Loud, president of Loud Security Systems, and we have Barry Epstein, the president of Vertex Capital. John, I'm gonna let you just introduce yourself, and Barry, same thing. John, maybe kick us off.
Go for it, Barry.
Either one.
All right, since he's on mute. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Loud. I'm president of Loud Security Systems. We're based in the Atlanta, Georgia marketplace. We have a little over 10,000 customers, about 60 employees here. We got a mixture of about 60% on the residential side, about 40% on the commercial side. Just celebrating our 25th year this year. And as Dean and Quentin talked about, I'm sure they were there for the analog to 2G and then the next rendition from 2 to 3, 4. And obviously they have a different seat today to kind of watch this endeavor and not be knee deep or shoulder deep in the trenches of it. But excited to be able to share with you today kind of where we're at and some of the strategies that we've forged forward with. But with that, I'll throw it over to you, Barry.
Barry Epstein, president of Vertex Capital. We represent a lot of alarm companies and integrators throughout the industry that we help them sell when they're ready. We do a lot of life safety. So we're doing not only the alarm companies and integrators, but we do the guard, the fire companies, the central station. And what's interesting is when March, April, and May came, when COVID hit, it was very quiet and all the acquisitions stopped. But now they've come roaring back, and we're seeing a lot of deals transacting right now. And 3G has become a big part of it. And so that's what we'll get to talk to in a few minutes.
Okay, great team. Again, thank you so much for joining us. And I know Richie may still be trying to join Dean, but maybe just go ahead and do an intro for Richie real quick, because I think we will at least talk to one of his slides as we get further.
I'd be happy to, Quinn. Thanks. So Richie Pettibone's got a family-owned business over on the East Coast, Crofton, Maryland, works in the DC area. He's a medium-sized dealer, very similar to John Loud's background, all-purpose, commercial, residential, fire access control, intrusion, and big on life safety.
Okay, great. So again, I want to thank our panelists for being on the call today. I know you're going to add a lot to this from both sides of this. But guys, let me just first of all kick off a little bit as far as Resideo, a little bit of an AlarmNet overview. We're still getting lots of questions of Resideo. Who are we? Guys, we were part of that spin that happened back in October of 2018. Most important thing for this call today, guys, is AlarmNet is part of Resideo, okay? And it does provide all that alarm transport to the central stations, and it's part of, you know, what we do as far as for Total Connect and AlarmNet 360, all those other dealer tools. What we're really, really proud of, guys, is that we literally are in 150 million different households out there, listed on the New York Stock Exchange as Resi. Very proud of the company that now has come from this and all the employees that really stand behind everything that we do. Our primary locations, if you look at that real quick, just in Austin, Texas, Melville, Louisville, Kentucky, and Golden Valley, Minnesota. If you ever have any questions of who we are, man, just ask any Resideo employee. We'll be glad to tell you anything that you ever wanted to know about our company. We're very, very proud of everything that we're accomplishing right now. But guys, look, purpose of today's call is really to talk about the sunset, the 3G sunset. And guys, I think everyone looking at the survey information that we got back, everyone is quite aware that we know there's another sunset coming. I think those few respondents who said they weren't, I think maybe they might have been pulling our leg, but I'm not real sure about that. But it was kind of interesting that some said they didn't. But guys, we know that we're going through these sunsets. I was part of the AMP sunset way back as a dealer. I remember that. Guys, we know that we just keep putting more and more devices on each year as it becomes more and more of the primary way that our panels communicate with the central station. Now we looked at what, 2G in 2017. John, I don't know about you, but that seemed like that was just yesterday, you know, and here we go again, right? We have 3G in 2022 and then, you know, LTE in 2027. So we're seeing these things every 5 to 7 years. You know, look, the important dates that we have to think about right now is the AT&T HSPA network. Guys, that's February of 2022. Now, that may seem like some time out there, but it's really not. 10 months later, we've got the Verizon CDMA sunset. And again, these may seem like they're out there a ways, but guys, if you take just an example of the math here, if you've got 1,000 accounts and you basically divide that by the number of months that you have left, if you look at that number, that's what you've got to do above and beyond what you're doing already to tackle this problem. And guys, the math doesn't get better the longer you wait. That number is just going to go up and it's going to rob you of some of the resources that you'll need just to do the things that you're supposed to be in business for. But guys, we know we're going to continue to see these sunsets. Hey, look, as demand for the types of things that our carriers provide, particularly from a consumer standpoint, keep increasing. Hey, we know these demands on the network are going to keep increasing and we're going to see these sunsets out there. But guys, you know, we've got some solutions for you here that we're going to talk about. So the reason I invited Barry on the call here today is he and I were talking a couple of weeks or months ago, and you know, I was talking about the risk really from the standpoint of just, like I said earlier, what a dealer kind of has to go through right now as far as, hey, the additional manpower, the expenses, you know, the communication with their customer, you know, all those have risks. You know, anytime we touch the customer, sometimes, man, we could be introducing a pain point that could possibly be a reason for attrition or something. But you know, that's just one of the risks. And as Barry and I were talking, he said, yeah, Quentin, but, you know, there are other risks. You know, buyers of companies out there are already discounting heavily on the value of these accounts. And guys, look, I know that whether you think you might be selling or not selling, hey, this isn't going to affect me. Every one of us wants to have an idea maybe what our company is worth, you know, and we also may want an idea that, hey, if I was going to go purchase another company or something of that nature, hey, what's fair market there? So these are things that, again, additional risks that you have to take into consideration. You know, if you're borrowing from certain lenders, as we get closer and closer to the sunset, they may look at your account base as having too many 3G accounts. Could be a risk there. And again, Barry's going to deep dive into a few of these. And then again, just there's the ultimate potential disruption to your business the longer you wait to do this, which again is a significant risk there for you. But Barry, I'm going to let you cover those. You provided some pretty good talking points. You and I have had some really good conversations on this. And I know, John, you've just done a couple of recent acquisitions that this already did affect those. But maybe, Barry, if you would talk about that first point just from a buyer's perspective.
Yeah, what we're seeing out there in the marketplace is that, and it's not 100%, but more and more buyers are starting to charge back for the 3G account issue. And they range. Some of them are 125, 150. We see 250. We see 300. It ranges all over the place. But the bottom line is, the buyer doesn't want to buy your account base and assume all the costs of switching it over. They'd rather you assume it, or they'll deduct it and then they'll cover their costs. And it gets very expensive. I mean, if you take 1,000 accounts at $250 a piece, I mean, that's a lot of money coming off your purchase price, and it's a lot cheaper for you to do it yourself. And I think John, you've done some deals recently where this has been an issue.
We actually, Barry, let me give you two examples. One is last year, and some sellers we were talking with, we said if we close by the end of 2019, we would take on all the financial risk, scheduling, equipment, everything was our burden, our risk. And we did close on 2 opportunities. And then we had one that was close to the end, and then he decided to put a pause on it. He's actually back talking with us. And now, unfortunately, I have to explain to him, due to the time constraints and the cost factors of it, we've had to interject. And I've actually, Barry, you've seen more deals on paper than I have, but even talking to others, I typically will see that number on the low of $225 in the Atlanta marketplace. And I've heard of many at the $300. And to give you guys an example, we have an opportunity we're doing right now. And there's about 350 radios involved, and the seller was going to be involved after post-closing to do all the transfer of everything. Because remember, when you're selling an account, you're getting full value for that. Well, if the communicator's not up to date, or you've got a risk of possibly losing them over the next year to a year and a half, as Barry said, any particular buyer or a lender that's looking to borrow money towards that asset is going to make sure that these types of future deficiencies that are well known and open to the marketplace are going to be cured before that closing transaction. So it either occurs by either you're going to do the conversion, or you're going to pay the buyer to do the conversion, which is that 150 to 300 that Barry has on that now. So in our upcoming opportunity we've got now, the particular seller actually in this case has decided, you know what, I'm not going to stay in business after, it's all yours. And I'm going to tell you guys, that is to the tune of almost $100,000 he's giving back to us, because he knows now that we're going to take care of that, and that headache is off his plate. So therefore it is his money. And as Barry said so well, you can more cost effectively do it less cost. But by the time I put all the risk and my money, my scheduling, my technicians, and there's only so much capacity. But I'll throw it back to you, Barry.
Yeah, and that's where you're buying the whole company. We're in the middle of 3 transactions now that are accounts only. And on the accounts only, the buyer won't even buy the 3Gs. They said, we'll buy everything else. When you get the 3Gs, we'll pay you for them. So you're going to have to do them anyway in that situation, or you're going to get nothing for them, which would be a disaster. And so it's just much better to do it on the front end.
And Barry, in our examples, we are actually only doing the assets. We're only doing the counts also, but we're kind of on that fringe of where, for my ops manager, general manager, trust me, they want me to say, no, we're doing no others. And we're not to where we're fully there yet, but we just know there may be other opportunities that we may not be able to even do it because of the time frame and the capacity aspect from our technicians and scheduling.
Right, you'll be so busy with your regular service call, your new business, and your 3G switch out. The question will be whether you'll buy somebody who's ready to sell, or you'll tell them wait 6 months, right, or a year.
Correct.
And that's a big issue. The next piece is the lending side. It hasn't happened yet, but as these things get closer, the question will be, if you're a banker and an alarm industry guy comes to you for a loan, do you want to lend on 3G accounts that are not being fixed, right? I mean, what your accounts are your collateral on the deal. And John's head is shaking no, and he's right. You probably don't want to lend on those, because once the January sunset hits, they're not worth anything. And so your collateral position gets much weaker. They may lend on what's not 3G'd, and then you have to fix them anyway. I mean, there's all these problems that just go away if you get them fixed beforehand.
Barry, this will roll into your next point, but think about this. If you know somebody, let's say we're talking a year from now and they've still got 100 or 200 3G out there, the issue is liability, right? If I'm going to buy that, I know that either A, the customer is not going to be sustainable and eventually going to cancel, or B, if they're even paying, but yet now the communication path goes down, where am I at for liability? So knowing, being a borrower from a lender standpoint, I certainly wouldn't put my money or my lender's money to be able to say, let's go invest in that. So you can also anticipate when you come to that end date and shutdown, the value is just going to plummet. So think about the stock value of what an account is, and then it hits that demise date and it shuts down. Now you've got no communication. You really don't have a customer. Somebody's got to try to resurrect that. So it's a liability factor.
That's like creating a new account again, right?
Yes.
So, yep.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. The third one is the liability risk. And I'm not an attorney, but if you think about it, if you get to the end of you get to the sunset and you haven't fixed it, and there's an incident with a big payoff, and you knew about it and you didn't do anything, who has the liability? Well, one argument is it's in most of your contracts where it says that the onus is on the end user to test it to make sure it's there. Okay, well that may be the case, but do you really want to risk it? Or will a jury say that's one thing where neither party needs to knew about it in advance, that you didn't have a signal going, but here you knew about it for 2 years, and for 2 years you knew you could have fixed it and you didn't. And there's been one study by a large company in our industry where they're not sure where the liability will fall because you knew about it for so long. And if you know about it and you didn't do anything, and then there's a big problem, violent or crime or whatever, then, will a jury find against you? And these, for a $30 account, you could be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's really not worth it.
Not a risk. Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I love that last one, procrastination. What do you mean by that one, Barry?
The procrastination is, look, he just showed you a slide where, you could be at 3 a day, which isn't so easy to go out and fix. Now start doubling and tripling, make that 10 a day, 15 a day, 20 a day. You get to the end and now you're 3 months or 2 months before they sunset, and you may have to make a decision. Do you put your techs on new installs, on servicing your customers, or do you put all those on hold to a great degree while you're switching out the 3Gs? It could cost you new business. It could cost you current customers. Or if you do both of the first two, it could cost you, you've got 3G accounts where they don't have any systems. And so all of that can be solved if you put together a plan. And we've spoken to a lot of people in the last month, and I saw his chart that said a lot of them have a plan. So many of the ones we talked to don't have a plan. They're doing it as they go out to service it. And we're talking people with 50, 500, and 5,000 that are just haven't done it yet because they think it's going away. But as the numbers show, it gets almost impossible to hit if you wait till the last 3 months and you've got thousands out there.
Yeah. So yeah, great points. Yeah, and guys, not only are we going to talk about the risks today, but we're going to talk about a lot of opportunities and at least a lot of solutions for this problem, right? So with that, we're going to do a poll question real here. It's just our way of keeping things kind of interactive. Please get up to that screen, press that button. Where do you think you are right now with your 3G replacement strategy? Have you started or haven't started? Less than 50% complete, more than 50% complete? And hey, are you almost done? Let's take a look at that real quick. Go ahead and enter your answers now. So while they're doing that, Barry, yeah, the other thing for me is, again, for the companies that I feel that, and John, I think you would feel the same way about this, right? If you've gotten most of this done ahead of your competition, John, what's the opportunity for you with that?
Exactly. It really comes down, one note I wrote down, it's like communicating with your subscribers. And I know the challenge out here, the tough part is it too early? Because if I got to tell somebody this is not until the beginning of 22, why do I have to spend that money today? Let me jump to the slide, the results, and we'll cover this more in a moment.
Yeah. So look, hey, look, we got a bunch here that are already at least 50% complete. We have some almost done. Majority though, hey, hopefully guys, the group here that haven't started, the ones that are less than 50% complete, maybe we can give you some additional strategies here as we go forward. But hey, thanks for participating in that poll. Really great information. Thank you. So yeah, continue, John.
So, I'll tell you, my answer with that is we're less than 50%. I wish the gentlemen or the men or women out there that said we're almost complete, that 5%, I'm super jealous. But here's that balance, so let's go back to the analog. I'm one of those at the beginning, just like so many of us on this call. I was scared. I was afraid. I was worried about how am I going to start to interact. For the first time ever, I'm forced to go back and interact. And we all know, everybody on this call had a whole lot less analog radios than what we all have today. So that has compounded and grown. The challenge, the process, this is one of those, you've got to start to strategize and figure out the solution. And I'm going to get into ours in just a little bit to be able to start to roll that out. But I know the issue is, like I was saying, is today too early to talk to somebody about an issue that's going to confront them and you in 2022? Because I know for some folks, well, am I even going to be living here? Am I going to have this business? Am I going to have moved?
Right.
Do you invest, or are they going to fire me? Have they not been using it? There's that scared element all, but obviously communication is key. And if you're not going to communicate, to Quentin's point, somebody is going to. And if you get to jump on top of that and you get to solve that, the opportunity for you to start talking about the story, to take care of others, to be able to, seize those opportunities for them to become your customer, you win. So whoever finishes first wins in two different ways. One, the process is behind you, your attrition has been drastically reduced, and the other is you've got your manpower utilization to now reallocate that to be able to go pick up new customer opportunities at companies that paused.
Right, right. You know, guys, and that's one of the things too, you know, it's just how important it is to communicate to your customers today. You know, it's been 10 years since I really sat in your seat, John, right? Where in my day it was, hey, just keep collecting, right? And you didn't really touch the customer a whole bunch. But look at the difference today, just in the new entrants into our marketplace that are touching our customers with just their communication that they're giving about all the new features and benefits and cool new things that can happen with their systems. So if you're not communicating with them, someone is communicating with them, right? So guys, you know, we've talked a little bit about the risks. So guys, let's talk about this as an opportunity, because I do feel like this is an opportunity. If you think about the things that we can come to the plate with and at least communicate or talk to our customers about that we didn't have during the 2G, right? There's a real opportunity here. But again, let me just go through some of the tools. We'll talk about some of those opportunities. But guys, we all know that really there are millions of these devices that have to be migrated. You know, it's a big number for all of us out there. And again, you've heard me say this once. You're going to hear it one more time. If you do not have a plan, please at least do the math. And we're going to show you at least today how easy it is to at least do the math. And I think we can show you some pretty simple strategies that will help you put a plan together. But guys, really, really importantly, I want to talk about at least what Resideo's strategy is to really make sure that we're equipping you with all the different things that you will need to really to be able to attack this, and not just like fix it and touch it and get it over with, but really turn it into an opportunity for your company. But really, we're going to focus around three key things that we're really trying to bring to all of our dealers. One, we're trying to bring lots of different tools to you, okay? And by those tools, we mean things like training, like the webinar that we're doing today. But more importantly, we're doing a lot of technical webinars. Everyone on our district sales managers team, any one of those can do additional training for you and your staff to help with those plans. Guys, we even have a Vista DIY program for you. If you'd have told me at the earlier part of this year that a consumer could swap out a radio on a Vista panel, I'd have said, no, I don't think that's possible. But guess what? It can be done, and Resideo has a plan for that. Collaterals, guys, you're going to need collaterals. It could be bill stuffers. It could be cut sheet. I mean, it could be all types of things to help you notify your customers of this impending sunset. We have those available for you. And then finally, our biggest tool, the one that we think you should start with first, is going to be ALARMNET 360. Guys, we know that, hey, financially, there's an impact. I think one of the biggest reasons that we saw in those survey results was, again, the reason that maybe we haven't started is just the financial impacts to our companies. And guys, we're really stepping up to that challenge. We're making rebates available, again, to help offset those costs. And these are going to be available for you from Resideo for existing swaps and for competitive swaps. And then finally, guys, again, if you do this early enough and not wait to the last minute, one of the things that you now have the opportunity to is to upsell your customers. So we've created a lot of different upsell packages. And again, all of these upsell packages are really designed around helping you, again, offset the cost. If you can actually collect something from that time of visit, right, it can help you drive loyalty because you're showing the customer something really new and cool now that maybe they didn't have. Could be a simple touchscreen update. We're helping you increase your RMR because on a lot of these packages, you could be upselling to some new benefits and some new services. And then finally, we really feel like doing this, you're going to reduce attrition because you are touching, you're giving your customers some additional value. So guys, we talk about one of the biggest tools right up front, and that's going to be ALARMNET 360. Again, we're going to talk a little deeper about training. Dean, you're going to cover that Vista DIY for us in just a second. I'll cover a little bit of the collaterals, but let's just quickly talk about AN 360. Guys, I'm still really amazed, particularly maybe for some of the business owners on this call. Man, your techs, both service and installation, they know about ALARMNET 360 because they're using it on a daily basis to really provision and bring on board those new accounts. But a lot of times the owners of the business don't realize what a really great platform it is to manage your business. And guys, right there in ALARMNET 360, this is again where you're going to go first. Before you develop your plan, know the number. So if you go into ALARMNET 360, you see a screenshot here that I have. It quickly tells you how many 3G, 4G accounts that you have out there. Now, hey, this is for another webinar, but you've got a lot of additional information there that tells you at least the types of services that are attached to those accounts. And again, guys, this information helps you manage your business because it actually shows you where some of your upsell opportunities are going to be located. So again, your first tool is go to AlarmNet 360, look at the number of devices that you have to swap, think about the months that you have remaining, and again, do the math, okay? So guys, if we talk about some of the best practices, Dean, man, talk to that. You know, you've seen a lot of dealers recently and have been helping them with this. What are some of the best practices that you've been talking about?
Thanks, Quentin. I appreciate that. I believe it's important to review the challenge as it relates to the timeline, which is what we're looking at right here. In doing so, we can help our dealers prioritize the customer, which customers they need to tackle first and which ones they may be able to set off for a later date with a little more time. So as you can see, we've got a deadline of February 2022 that's just over 16 months away. So obviously AT&T cellular only accounts have to become first priority. We've got the cellular internet combo. They'll lose the cellular at the same time, but they would have internet communication still. So that allows you a little bit of breathing room from that liability and communication standpoint, but it's still going to have to be addressed. But you'd have a little more flexibility there if you missed that February of 2022 deadline. When we get to Verizon, we've got a little more time. We've got another 10 months on top of that. So you can set them back as a third priority. And again, when you get to Verizon cellular and internet combo, very, very similar in the sense that the internet will back up the cellular and it buys you a little more breathing room. Yep. But obviously from a liability standpoint, you promise that client dual path communication. You're going to want to rectify that as quickly as you can. Without putting words in Barry's mouth, I think that's probably a fair statement, Barry.
Yes.
Yeah, and team, I know there's one other sunset that's coming up a little bit sooner, guys, right? And that's going to be on Verizon's roaming accounts out there. It doesn't affect a lot, but if you do have any concerns that you do have any Verizon CDMA that are on roaming, you may just want to check with your DM or your support team with AlarmNet, and we can tell you if you do have any of those accounts out there. But that little group will actually be sunsetting by the end of this year. So something else to consider.
So Quentin, I know you're going to talk later about tools, but we have got a calculator that we're happy to provide for you that'll help you run through these different batches of clients and help you prioritize them accordingly.
Yep. So guys, we're going to talk about, and I know, John, you're going to share some things, but we're really going to talk about what path you're going to take. And it's either going to be growth or it's going to be neutral, right? Or could even be negative, right? So we're going to really talk to you about a couple of different options here, but really don't rock the boat, just save the account, right? And that could be your strategy going into it. I would say the longer you wait, the more that's going to become your strategy because you're just going to try to knock these out as quick as you can, right, John? You're just going to, hey, Mr. Customer, if you just don't want to pay anything, that's fine. I just need to get this done, and I need to retain at least the 30 or 40 or whatever dollars you're sending me per month, right? So, you know, you have that don't rock the boat, just replace it at cost with a new agreement or even give it for free with a new agreement, okay? Then we have what we call kind of the level up the customer. Again, adding some additional services, kind of thwarting off the competition from doing anything here. And then again, you have decisions to make of whether it's going to be an on-site technician visit or could it even be a DIY upgrade, which we're going to talk about with the new Vista program that we have. Guys, the other thing that you'll have to think about as you go forward here is how are you just going to notify your customer? And I think, John, you'll talk about this, about how you really got to get the team involved, okay? And, you know, if you have an inside sales or customer service department, that can be important. You know, do you have outside sales reps? Really, the important thing is getting everyone involved. But we do find companies that do kind of assign one person within the company that's kind of their 3G sunset, you know, master or the attrition buster or whatever you want to put his title at. If he's the one really helping to manage the number and keeping the team aware of where they're at, it's always important sometimes to have that one person that could be driving. And it could be you as the owner of the company here, but having that person is very, very important. So John, you're going to talk a little bit about some of the strategies, and you guys started fairly early. I know I've worked with Eric a little bit on this. He's shared some of this before, but maybe talk about some of the things that your company's doing right now.
So Quentin, I guess where we are today, we're still averaging a little over 10 conversions a day. Unfortunately, I wish we were closer to 20. And to kind of needle into what you were just saying, to give you guys where we are, we're kind of, you know, we can't go for the full upgrade options. We don't have enough time for that, for the amount of devices we've got to get to. And it comes down to our manpower utilization and the amount of organic growth we've got just going on in our normal business. So the tough part is how much manpower can we actually put to it? So certainly we've got upgrades going on. We'll end up a little bit better than neutral. where we won't end up down, and it's really about retaining the RMR at the end of the day. But we're certainly dealing with keypad upgrades and smoke detectors and other normal enhancements, adding interactive services, things of that sort. So from a team, we've deployed both some of the admin and outgoing sales team, as well as operationally permitting whether some of the folks in our ops team get allocated for a day or two to be able to make the outbound calls to kind of start the dialogue. Here's what I want to encourage everybody. If you guys want to jot some of these numbers down, I'm fine to share these and kind of give you our approach that we went at this last time, which turned out incredibly successful. And we're actually in the process this time. So our first round of communication, obviously we're using all of our communication paths from social media, email, bill updates. So if we're actually sending paper or email bills, we're putting information on that bill content so that people know we've got updates and upgrades that we need to have a dialogue with them on. Newsletter, special newsletter, and man, it seems like when we push our newsletter, our phones erupt. So we did that one time, and that was not a fun day around here because the amount of calls that came in about that became so troublesome that we almost shut down our regular organic growth to be able to backlog the schedule, unfortunately, way too much, and not a fun process. So we had to learn from that standpoint to not fully broadcast. And when we fully broadcast, we had to be sensitive to not tell everybody, because not everybody's on a communication path that's about to expire, especially somebody that we've done a new install over the last year or so. So be thinking about those things as to what that detail can look like. I'm more than happy to share what we've been putting in ours. So if you want to, I'll add, or Dean, if you want to add my cell number and my email down in the chat area, I'm happy to help anybody after this. But here's the crux of our real program. So our first pass through in communicating with our customer is we're looking for the $199 investment. Obviously, we're dealing with different sales script aspects of talking about, just as you upgrade your cellular, we're only asking you to upgrade this every 5 or 6 years, not every 2 years like typically people are doing. So we're going in for the $199 sale is our ideal scenario. We try to feel out the customer, and because we've done this program before, we've kind of already marked the customers to know how it was the first time, what you're going to encounter, what the result may likely end up being. So I'll give you the next step. After we pass by the $199, the next time we're going to talk to a customer is when we've kind of gone through a bunch of it. We're going to come back with a $99 offer. Look, it was $199, time's running out. We only have so much manpower. We need to be able to get to your home or business. We want to offer you this special. Can we do $99? So that's kind of our second pass, if you will, keeping the RMR the exact same. Our third pass is we offer a $49 activation, if you will, and we're basically going to lease it to them at $5 per month. So if you do the math, $49 activation, $5 a month over 3 years, that's $180 plus the $49. If you had to do another one, you've got $280 over the course of that 3 to 4 years. So that's kind of our next real option. Sometimes we'll go down and waive the $49, just giving you the reality of the steps. I know I thought I only had these customers, but I'm sure a few of you out there have a few of these customers also, which ultimately gets you down to the desperate last 10 months as we're all running to keep our RMR alive. And literally we will then go to a zero lease, but it's our unit, it's our property. So if they decide to move, transfer, go somewhere else, they're going to have a $450 fee they're either going to pay us or they're going to get us the unit back. So even right now, folks that have the older generation and they're moving or going out of state or who knows what, they're either sending it back to us. If they've already moved, then they've got a $450 fee they're sending us, which will kind of help make it right for you. So it's a way to kind of not have them come out of pocket. I don't want everybody at a zero lease. So we make multitude of passes and communications, but guess what? We did identify a group of folks in the last go around that were zero leases. So to some extent, when we kind of get a flux or a lull of where we are with things, we know we can go after that group or we can leave them a little bit later. So we're always cognizant of where that group is. We started with some of them early on. And I'll tell you at the beginning of the year, I think it was February, Quentin, I probably called and ordered 500 units from Quentin and the team to say, you know what, I know if I invest, I'm going to stay on top of my team and make sure we begin the process, get on it to the point on a weekly basis right now. I want to see what those updated numbers are. So if we have too much organic growth or we're not getting somebody, we have enough we need to get to. So we know there's an accountability factor and a communication going on internally to see where those numbers get to. But unfortunately, we're not going to be one of those raving stories at the end of the day that has had such a great dollar increase per se on all the upgrades. We're definitely getting some. I think we'll end up a little bit plus neutral, but obviously the RMR is the most vital piece to me. And Brad and Eric have given me many examples of different upgrades and opportunities. And guess what? Yes, you will have a few cancels along the way, but
Right.
you will have some others that will be seeing some of your communication. Had one just the other day, has been a long-time customer. For the first time is actually now going to go get interactive. And he's been with us greater than 15 years. So by the communication path, Quentin said it so well, if you're not going to communicate with them, somebody's going to, and you don't want to let that RMR start to attrit away.
Yeah. Great stuff, John. So a couple of kind of key takeaways for me is, one, you got to watch your resources, right? So you got to be a little careful with maybe the message, how you're delivering it, right? Is it going to your entire account base? You might want to pick a zip code or start somewhere, but not your entire account base from a resource standpoint. But I think the other key thing that I know myself and everyone really on the Resideo team here is that, guys, there's not like one silver bullet strategy here, right? There's really going to be different things that will work for you with a specific, portion of your account base, right? You sound like you've got literally 4 different options there to get a customer involved with a solution. But that's a key takeaway for at least the audience here, is that really there's not just one single strategy. You're going to find lots of different things that work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Quinn, let me share this, because I realize with many of the folks on today's call that, financially, all right, to do a 0 down and you're leasing it, I know that just cost you a lot of money, from the scheduling, the installer, the hardware equipment. So I know there's only so much that some companies of varied sizes can do. So I totally get that. And that's why for us, again, it's that $199, it's the $99, it's the $49. So we're trying to get them to, hey, help me out. And I think the smaller I was at that time, the more communication, the more relationship and tighter I would have with that person to say, hey, look, for us to be able to continue to earn your business. And we share many times, it doesn't matter what company you're talking to out there, somebody has got to upgrade that communication path. And the sad part is, we know in our industry, somebody out there is going to do it for free too. We hopefully have that relationship and longevity with them that they're going to trust, know, and want to stay with us. And we've earned that confidence on the way. It's a tough dialogue to occur, but it's something that, and I know if I'm a smaller business, it's a smaller problem or a smaller issue. But again, I would not encourage you to wait till further down the road. If you can start acting today, it's kind of one of those, you have a better chance of talking to them about upgrade solutions and possibilities that we cannot do. But
Yeah.
it may be a, hey, look, we hadn't talked about this in 3 or 5 years. Let me tell you what they've come out with. Let's talk about these touchscreens. Let's talk about the communication opportunities and what this does, and let you take a look at it. So you've got a good plus opportunity instead of it costing on the financial piece, because you got time in your hand. The resources are the manpower, the money, or the time, right? There it is. You've got to figure that balance.
Yep. So good stuff. Hey, thanks, John, for sharing. So Dean's going to go in a little deeper into some of these strategies. Before he does, I talked about this just a few minutes ago, really about one of the big things that to me is completely different than what we went through with 2G. And it's just really the demand that we're seeing for smart home devices, okay? And guys, that really does present us with an opportunity, okay? And it's really gonna wrap around a lot of these upsell opportunities. So, if you look at some of this data that we've put together here that really, these are things that they're most likely, or at least consumers say they're most likely to purchase within the next year. And guys, we all know video's hot, so you will actually, some of the solutions or some of the upsell opportunities that we discuss is about adding video. Again, something that has a huge high perceived value, because guys, let's face it, we're talking about replacing their communicator, and that's not real sexy sounding, right? So if we can add or do something different, that really could make this whole process more appealing to them. If we look at just adding smoke CO, the whole home security, the connected thermostat, the indoor security camera, these are all opportunities. So again, there are risks involved with this 3G sunset. But guys, there's a lot of opportunities here, and that's what we're going to talk about next here, which is some of the strategies. Right, Dean?
That's right, Q. So I am honored to be sandwiched between 2 industry rock stars, John Loud preceding us, and I've got Richie Pettibone coming right behind me to tell another real life story from the industry. I think I'd like to cover up what you just said, Quentin. With John Loud, 2 things that I pulled out of that, John, is that you remain flexible with multiple paths to go to your client and options for them, and the fact this is all about RMR. Preserving it, maybe growing it, but certainly preserving it. Is that right?
1,000,000%. Absolutely.
I like that number, 1,000,000%. Thanks, John. So Quentin, what you point out so well is we've got both a challenge in front of us as well as a potential opportunity. And it's really how we see that and what our perception is. So the challenge is obvious. We've got to replace and upgrade a whole lot of radios before a hard sunset date that we have zero control over. That's a challenge. The opportunity is that during this task, while we're trying to accomplish it, we want to get done before sunset. That's a bonus. We maintain our RMR, minimize our attrition, reduce the impact on our technical staff, meet our customers' expectations, make a profit if that's possible, and I believe it is, and possibly even increase our RMR. So rather than just protecting it, perhaps we can actually grow it out. So why don't we take a look together on how that all factors in? We've got a few approaches I think you might like. So under saving the account, so back to your first point there, John Loud, saving the account, this is one that we actually affectionately refer to as a loyalty upgrade. So typically we're going out there, what we see in the industry is dealers charging $199, $249, or $299 to upgrade a radio. One-time fee. Many of us as dealers have been through this now for the third time. Some of our clients are looking at us like, will this ever end? I'm tired of being nickel and dimed repeatedly. So if you've got that client, the one that's been with you for years or decades, that's been loyal to you, that pays their bills, they don't complain, here's an opportunity to reward that loyalty and say thank you while helping yourself at the same time. So one thing you could do is give them a free upgrade. So if it's a Vista panel, you've got the opportunity to use our 6290 touchscreen. Very, very affordable. I would never advise, and I think John touched on this, tearing down an existing control panel and putting a new one up. That's a very labor intensive and risky process to do. It could take your technician 2 hours, it could take them 8 hours. Very unpredictable, hard to schedule. But taking down an older keypad and putting up a new colored touchscreen is a 15-minute project. It's predictable, it's simple and easy, and it is a true upgrade. Your client only interfaces with the keypad. If you replace that with a touchscreen, you just updated their system. It's a win. You've rewarded that client for their loyalty. You still get money for doing the updates, so you're not coming out of pocket, and you've got a happier client. Now, if you take the same approach, we've got a tuxedo colored touchscreen, looks very much like the 6290, but it has home automation built in. So here's an opportunity to take a legacy system, a 5, 10, 20-year-old system, and turn it into a new system with smart technology and all the features we have today for a very attractive cost and price point. So when you look at it, our clients only see us when we come to the well to take money from them. In this case, you're actually going to bring them something in return and thank them for their loyalty. We hope that this will help reduce attrition and take you forward. Thanks, Quentin. On to step 2. So this one is a save and it's a growth opportunity. So very similar marketing as far as how the prices go, but there's things that we mean to do. We all have great intentions. We intend to follow up with our clients to see if they'd like to add life safety to their burglar alarm. We intend to talk to them about water leak detection. We intend to talk to them about cameras because we know they all want them. But we get tied up with that organic growth John mentioned. We don't get a chance to talk to them about it, and we let those opportunities slide by. Maybe for the next company to come and take advantage of them for that and take over your entire account. So we're going to have these conversations with our clients now. A great conversation. They like you, they trust you, you're their trusted advisor. You're telling them how you need to upgrade their communication path. What better opportunity to talk to them about some potentials that they may not know about? They'd love to hear what you're up to. What's the latest? What do you have for camera technology? What do you have for life safety? What do you have for home automation? These are things they'd love to hear about, and you're going to be on the phone with them anyway. Great opportunity to talk to them about it. Maybe you can slide them something, maybe it's a free water sensor, maybe it's a free smoke detector, something that interests them. They may buy the rest, but you can add recurring revenue for this. It's a new service they don't currently have. So you can generate recurring revenue out of what seemed like a burden. So that one's a save and a growth. Quentin, if you'd be kind enough, there we go. Quentin alluded to this one. This is pretty interesting. A DIY option or a do it yourself or a do it together option for your client. We have a program in place at RESIDEO that you can actually mail the radio out to your client and they can change the radio. We've got a toolkit for it, tells them how to do it, walks them through it. You may offer that assistant on the dealer side as well. But the idea is they can change those radios without you rolling a truck. So think about the cost savings you've got there by not rolling a truck, not having to schedule that appointment and reschedule that appointment and do all the follow-up. You just ship it to the client, they install it, you're done. Definitely a force multiplier that'll keep your costs low. Next one, Quentin, if you would.
And I would add to that one, Dean, just, with the climate that we're in with COVID, this is an option that a lot of your customers may prefer right now. We hear this from dealers all over the country that people are just reluctant to have other people in their homes right now. So just kind of keep that is another reason for this particular strategy.
That is an excellent point, Quentin. And there's a case where you've got some of your clients are do-it-yourself type people. They like to do it themselves. They like to save a few dollars. So you can pass those savings on to them, make it attractive for them.
Right. Reduces a truck roll.
Exactly. So this one is a save and an increase in RMR all at the same time. So you'll notice at the top, most of the pricing stays the same in the sense that they'd be paying $199 to $300 for a radio. For a lot of your clients, that is a surprise they weren't expecting. They're not all that crazy about spending the money and getting nothing in return in their mind, their perception. So here's an opportunity to just flip it over. John alluded to this. He's got a program. It's a preventative maintenance. We call it a communication assurance program. And rather than shell out that $200 or $300, you simply pay $5 a month going forward, adds to your recurring revenue. And as a company, you'll just take care of that communication path forever. As long as they continue to pay that $5 a month, you're guaranteed they'll have a communication path that works for them. So what it does for your end user is it takes away that surprise, that big cost, makes it budgetable for them. It's predictable. It's a long-term solution, and they feel good about it. And they know that you're taking care of them, putting their best interest at heart.
Dean, I'll also add there too, for us with that $5, if something goes bad with that unit, which you guys know is not a very common scenario, but it's part of our sales communication path to them, then look, we're going to roll the truck. There's no cost factors. We'll come take care of it. Because again, we already realized that person, we got to save them. So that's why we're at the $5 amount. But when you look at starting that $5 today, and the longer you go, the more financially benefit you are anyway, as well as retaining it. But to the point of us saying what Dean said is, whenever they change it, guess what? They're going to change down the road. But we're going to incur that cost and take care of you. It's already built into that $5. And you, again, have just set up the strategy. When LTE goes away, you're going to know the customers you can just go and take care of when you're in the area.
Right. Anything that reduces, right, a friction or a pain point, right? And this is just a conversation that you probably don't want to have arguing over, right, the price of something in the future. So yeah, good points. Good points.
And face it, John, you can attest this, Quentin, you've been there. It becomes down to let's make a deal. The closer you get to the sunset deadline, the stronger your client pushes back, the more you play, let's make a deal with time and price. And I see John going at it right now. We've been there. I was a dealer for 30 years. I remember these days. I've been through it twice. This would have been my third time. I'm on this side of the fence. I'm hoping I can bring you some value from this side of the fence to help you take this forward. Now, this one's an interesting one. Richie Pettibone's going to join right after this and talk a bit on it for you. This one is what I call a simple service system. The idea is that you assume the sale. You assume your client is willing to have this radio changed out. You're assuming they're going to pay for it. And you're assuming there's not going to be any problems. And believe it or not, that assumption actually works 9 out of 10 times. The way you do it is you simply send them a letter today outlining what's happening, why it needs to be done, when it needs to be done, what the cost is. You explain to them you're going to take care of all the heavy lifting. You'll schedule it. You'll take care of it. They don't have to do a thing. You'll send them a bill when it's done. All of it's taken care of. You provide them an opt-out. So if they don't like that idea, they can tell you, no, hey, John, I don't want to do that. I'll do it. I'll deal with that later. But you just assume it's going to happen. Now, what that gives you permission to do is the next time you get a call for service on that system to replace a door contact or replace a bad battery, you just change the radio while you're there. There's no discussion. There's no conversation. You don't have to schedule a truck roll. You don't have to deal with rescheduling for it. You just change the radio while you're on site. So to go and change the radio, you've got 30 minutes of drive time each way. You've got 45 minutes on site. If you're already on site performing service for that client at their request, it'll take you 15 minutes to change the radio out. That's fast, that's efficient, and you don't have to hire extra technicians to do it. You can do it in your normal day. Quentin pointed out earlier that this dealer with 1,000 accounts has to do 3 radios a day. That's 45 minutes on your existing service techs per day to make that happen. It's straightforward, it's simple, and it's easy. Now that is the idea. I'd like to turn you over to Richie Pettibone and have Richie explain from the real world what's that like. Take it away, Richie.
Hey, Dean, Richie Pettibone. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic, Richie.
Okay, so what we did at Pettibone Alarm was just a little bit different approach where, like you had mentioned, Dean, we sent out letters to everybody. But one of the twists we had was we said that if you do it now, it's $199. If you wait, it's $299. So we just created a natural sense of urgency. Like, look, we're out here. We've rolled the van. You've already paid the $145 or $185. It's commercial. And if you pay the $199 now, you save on the service call and you save $100. If you wait, it's going to cost you $299 plus a service call. And what we've done is we've just kind of handicap ourselves. We stayed away from our 17s and 18s right now because they were just put online, it seems like. So we've knocked out all the older ones, and now we're starting to roll into our 17 and 18s. But the way that we do it is that every single service call that comes in, the girls simply pull up the account, see that the radio's outdated, they have their telephone script, they explain it, the technician goes out, and it's a done deal. And they flip them out. And if they don't flip them out, it's noted, and they sign. When your sunset comes up, it's $2.99. And then once we get to that point, we'll see what we end up doing. But we've created a sense of urgency by telling them we're saving them money on a regular service call.
Gotcha.
So Richie, what percentage would you say are taking up on, I guess, or declining the radio upgrade?
2%, 1%, very small.
1 to 2%?
If you ask, you will receive. It's very simple. It's like a sense of urgency. It's like, this is what the expectation is. If you want to stay with Pettibone Alarm, continue to have our service, this is the way we're going to function. So we're dictating the process to our customers. This is what we do, and this is it. And they know it's very simple. We will charge them when we come out the next time. Then we're on that call. Everyone's been talking about the upgrades. And the key to our success with upgrades is that all of our technicians have a bonus program where if they sell a certain device, they get a certain amount of money. They get a percentage. And then we've wrapped that up into a total. So if our technician hits $40,000 for the year, he gets X number of bonus on top of what he's already earned. And that's how you sell a lot of add-on equipment. And your screen was exactly right. Cameras, smoke detectors, sound systems.
So if I'm hearing it right, Richie, you have multiple paths to get to that client, push the buttons that mean something to them to make this happen?
Well, it's organic. We do, let's say we do 15 to 20 service calls a day. And we do, of those 15 to 20, 5 of them have old radios. They're getting flipped out. So it's not even, it's a program. It's the program is when they call in for service, they've gotten the letters, but we haven't gone to the phone calls yet. We're not really aggressively, this has been a stress-free, for me, zero stress, because I can look at the numbers. I know we have, X number of months. I know how many accounts we have left, and we're just picking them off.
So Richie, without getting into details, when we talk numbers, you've been at this for about a year now. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you've got roughly 60 to 70% of your radios upgraded?
Yes. Yep.
You would call that stress-free?
That's absolutely stress-free. At this point, 100%.
I may change the name of that from Simple Solution to Stress-Free Solution then, Richie.
Yeah. Yeah, because you kind of see it. You kind of, over time, because it's been a year and a half we've been doing it. When you first came out, Dean, and, kind of coached me up on the program, I listened. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And we came up with a plan, and the plan works. But if you sit back and wait, and you wait, and you wait, let me tell you what's going to happen, guys. You can't get glass breaks anywhere in the country right now. Wait till there's a run on these radios. So start upgrading them.
All right,
Thank you, Richie. Appreciate that.
Great stuff. And you're making me a little nervous because it looks like you're driving and attending my webinar at the same time. So
actually, I'm doing what I always do. I'm out selling. I'm not sitting in that office, and Roddy's driving me, and we're coming back from Maryland's Eastern Shore.
Okay, great. So appreciate it. John, anything you wanted to add to that, or?
No, I love the program. I definitely like that kind of reverse mindset. It's going to be interesting, Richie, to see as you get down to the last few months where folks are like, I guess you'll probably have to go back to the $199, or where does it go from there? Or did you send all those customers to the other companies on this and you have none of those that are like, wait, that's your expense, but it's awesome. And I'm jealous that you're at that percentage. So congratulations to you and your team.
So guys, we're going to start wrapping up.
The other are fortunate or more.
Yeah, we're going to start wrapping up here, guys. I'm just going to finish out with a last few of the resources that Resideo is really bringing to bear here for you. We're going to talk about some of the special upgrade kit pricing that we have for you. Really talk about the rebates. Again, we're putting our money where our mouth is when we talk about, hey, backing you up financially for this project. And then again, some of the collaterals that are available for you. Guys, look, we have tons of LTE support materials. So once you kind of figure out the number and you start developing your plan, hey, if your next dilemma is to try to figure out how to start communicating this to your customer, hey guys, look, John, you invented this, right? What is R&D in our particular industry? It is rip off and duplicate. And we are very proud if you would like to rip off and duplicate anything that we've actually created here for you. But guys, we actually have an LTE landing page now created that you can actually go to. All these materials are there. We're even sending out a monthly newsletter, keeping you updated. But guys, we have everything from bill stuffers to letters that you can use for mailing to your customers. Guys, we're already creating some social media content videos so you can start alerting to your customers via different channels. But guys, lots of different collaterals and support materials there to help you address this. And then finally, guys, you know, Dean talked about a lot of those different packages, right? The different opportunities that you have. So we've actually created some pretty nice packages here. You will have to reach out to your district manager to get some of these in place, but just to give you an example here, he gave you an example of maybe an automation package where, hey, what we've done here with all of these kits is we've bundled our radios with some of our most popular upsell opportunities at a really great price here for you. So just take as an example, the LTE radio with a Tux Wi-Fi at $249. Again, video is hot. We have a bundle there with a video camera. Guys, one of my favorite that really is a no-brainer here when you think about the value proposition that you can communicate to your clients is the water option there. Hey, we've taken that LTE radio, we've bundled it with 4 of the 5,800 floods for $129. Man, that is almost a no-brainer there to me. You've got something that communicates a heck of a lot of value. Consumer can easily grasp what the value of this is. And this is something you can actually charge a couple extra dollars for each month because you're adding a new level of service to their account. And then finally, guys, the cornerstone of our business, which is life safety, we have bundles around smoke and CO. So again, money where our mouth is. We've got the bundles created at aggressive pricing for you. Guys, rebates. You can earn up literally up to $55 for every one of your swaps here. So you'll get $20, guys, for just converting that radio over. And guys, think about that. You're getting one for free today. So think about you're going to get another $20 on that. Think about that. That's a pretty cool deal there for you. Add any of the smart home, smart security or the smart home package. You can get an additional 20 back and an additional 15 if you add video services to that. Guys, we heard you loud and clear. Man, it was pretty clunky during the 2G about how you submitted for your rebates and all these different things. It was, God, you almost had to have a separate person on staff just to handle the paperwork, right? In AlarmNet 360, and you've heard me say this many times, AlarmNet 360, you've got a dashboard right there that's going to show you your rebates. It's going to show you the devices that you have eligible, which ones you've replaced. But guys, it's all right there. It shows you which ones have been processed, but it's right there within the dashboard for you. Guys, very simple to track. Man, if you're doing an existing swap, all you do is go into 360, choose replace existing device. You upgrade that to LTE. You select the options. What are you doing? Is it security only, smart package, or video? Again, that's going to determine the level that you get back from a rebate standpoint. All those rebates are calculated and it's applied to your ADI account. If it's a non-Resideo or a competitive swap, hey, create the new customer in AlarmNet 360, navigate to the competitive conversion dashboard in 360. Again, it's all in AlarmNet 360. Enter the old radios, manufacturer and SIM, and just enter the new radio, MAC and CRC. And again, credit applied at ADI. So we've made these rebates very, very simple for you to take advantage of with Resideo. And then guys, hey, let's talk about, you know, we've talked a lot about today, hey, the risks, hey, these are some of the opportunities. Man, we've heard from 2 of our really good customers here, Richie and John, on some of their strategies. But guys, we know, we said earlier, this isn't the last one. There's gonna be another upgrade or sunset at some point. So let me just tell you a little bit about what Resideo is doing as a plan, because, you know, as a former dealer, these are things that I would be considering right now if I was sitting in your shoes. Okay, what product am I going to market with that literally will maybe protect me as the next sunset comes around? And that's where, guys, I would like to just talk to you real quickly about Pro Series that we're really proud of. It really is out there to help you win more customers, keep them longer, help you drive more profits. But guys, what's really different about this product is its modular design. And hopefully this is going to work out. This is our new Pro Series, but you'll see this little module here, which is the cell communicator. It just slides into a slot, and this will be easily replaced by your customer. So when that next sunset happens, the 5G device, literally all you will have to do is just send that to your customer and have them actually just pull out the old one and plug the new one in, right? No truck roll, none of the heartburn. And these are the things that I think as a dealer, you have to be considering as you go forward, because we know these sunsets will continue to happen. And you need to be thinking about this just from the profitability standpoint of your company as we go forward there. So lots of good stuff. I know we're coming up on right on the hour. Dean, I'm going to maybe let you reach out to Troy. I don't know if we have any questions or comments that we can start addressing, but I do want to kind of start winding this down with, guys, you've seen just a small part of the support team here today with myself and Dean. We've got a great group of district managers out there, both east and west. If you'd like additional information on some of the topics we've discussed today, I know the dealers that you've had on the call here today are willing to share. I know, Barry, you're there available if anybody has any questions. But guys, we've got a really big team between our inside sales team, our outside sales team, our AlarmNet team, everyone at Resideo. We really are, our purpose is to help you win. And again, anything that we can do to help you do that, we've got the resources and the people there to help. With that, I do want to thank everyone for taking an hour out of their day to attend this. Hopefully you've picked up one or two little nuggets. I do want to thank our panelists again today for taking an hour out of your time. Again, it's really what's great about this industry, at least for me in 30 years, is we do like to share best practices with each other. And it's great to have calls like this where we can learn and take away from each other. But guys, hey, our gift to you for having taken an hour out of your time here is that we do have a buy one, get one, one per company. It's available to you. It's the LTE XV or XA. That's the AT&T version or the Verizon version. What will happen at the end of this webinar is we have your registration information. Someone from our inside sales team will just contact you to say, hey, you qualify to take advantage of this. Which kit would you like to receive? And they will take care of processing that order for you. But Dean, did we have any other questions, or I'll just open it for any Q&A at this point?
Yeah, we actually have one, Quentin, that I thought would be best to answer live, and it's asking about the GSM-X 4G radio. So 3G radio and 4G radio use the same technology. 3G is basically an HSPA, 4G is HSPA plus. It's a compressed, faster version of 3G. So anything that's really non-LTE is what needs to be updated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good point.
Troy, to follow up on that, there was a couple of questions about 5G, which is a similar answer to what Troy just gave. The original 4G was really HSPA, but they called it 4G. Today's 5G is really not 5G. It's probably not going to be out in time for the sunset. So that's the reason why the industry has chosen LTE from a safety and availability standpoint.
Yeah, John?
Quentin, I want to quickly, less than a minute here, Greg, Steve, and Melanie's questions. Greg, as far as, I think the opt-out, as far as the legal liability, I would caution you on that if they opted out, like that was shared today, Richie shared, that look, you still know a communicator is going to fail at some point in time. So for you to still can collect those dollars and let them believe, even though they opted out for that upgrade at that time, I think liability, I don't think you're protected, and I would caution you greatly. So I don't think that helps in that piece. The next is Steve put in there about the $5 being a 3-year plus return on that. I agree with you, Steve. It's kind of, look, right now we're going through an increased creation multiple because of the intensity we're going at this. So it is part of that investment process for us. We are retaining the RMR. So I think in the long run of that customer, we're going to be far better and fine from that standpoint. but I do realize that that definitely is an investment. And then Melanie, as far as commercial for us, commercial seems a whole lot easier. In a commercial, look, it's not their money, their pocket so much. So for them to deal with an upgrade cost in that, we have a far easier conversion to get that done. Plus they're open, the hours are open. It's a much easier process. So that's one of those, when you're sending some residential technicians over to some area, to grab any of the commercial in that area may be a nice quick gain and conversion for you.
Hey, John, if I could jump on that. We talked about being flexible earlier, and I believe your plan was $49 up front and $5 a month, which would cut your creation costs in half.
That's correct. That's
Right.
correct. And then, like I gave the math earlier, if you're paying 49 activation and then over 3 years, you're getting 180 bucks plus the 49, they'll have another 40 year, 280 easily in a 3-year window, 4-year window. So and I'm still, again, it's about keeping the RMR whole and solid and good. And we're doing new paper at that time too. So, because we're adding that $5 into the equation, that we're all clear. And the 450 was the point that I shared, that if they canceled somewhere along the way, they got to, even after the 3 years, they still have to either return it or pay the 450 for the device.
Well, and John, if you take that $5 a month times 30 or 36 months, that's a value of $150 to $165 per account.
Right.
On
And it
a
doesn't go away.
purchase or from a lending standpoint.
Correct. And to your point of your slide earlier, that does not go away. So it's got some value there. But Barry would share with you, a lender is going to look at that different because there's a cost associated to that $5. So it's not as free and clear as typical RMR. There's all different types of RMR that have different rates with it. But again, you're still sustaining the good RMR at a lower, central station monitoring rate for the base account. So it's well worth the investment, in my opinion.
So I always looked at the things like service. I mean, to me, anything that would cause my customer to pick up the phone and possibly call my competition to shop, anything I spent was worth reducing that, right? So, not just making sure just reducing those pain and friction points, anything that would cause them to pick up, that's just, John, it's just a battle you never win, right? If you give them a reason to pick up the call to get a price on your battery replacement or your cellular, what are you charging, XYZ company to replace my radio?
So,
And that competitor would probably say, hey, you switch to me, no problem, I'll do it for free, right? So, I really always caution people to think about, hey, that $5 may have this long-term payout, right? But really think about, man, if you can keep that person from picking up the phone for $5 a month.
So, Quentin, this will resonate with everybody. And this is for a project after this is over, because I remember what it was like when this is over. I'm like, wow, look at the manpower I get to utilize in different ways, which is great. But as Richie's program was an opt-out, we did that opt-out that we learned from another dealer. So back to our R&D, rip off and duplicate, that they basically gave everybody a warranty maintenance plan, a service plan, okay? And they put that on everybody's bill and gave people the opportunity to opt out. We also, again, did a segment of customers, about 700 or 800 a month. So it wasn't that our phones were going to blow up, and we rolled that in over a 6-month window, but we added good RMR. Our operations team did not get lambasted when they were going to say, well, here's the service call rate and here's the equipment, when we know customers think everything in the universe should be free, at least in our industry. But again, I'm probably the only one that has those customers.
Right.
Hey, John, Will Fleener is asking a question. Do you pay commission to an inside sales team that makes phone calls to clients?
Not in these cases. No, not in this aspect. No, we do not.
Okay.
And then,
So guys, I know we've run over on the time. I see lots of questions. Yes, Troy, this is recorded correctly. Correct. We will have a link for this. So we will
that's
have
a yes. That's a yes, Quentin.
Yes. So we will have a link to this. But guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Again, I want to thank the panelists, John, Barry, Richie. Thank you so much for joining our call today. I'm sure we're going to do another one of these maybe first of the year. We will make sure we get a copy of the presentation for everyone. And again, thank you for taking an hour out of your day. Hopefully you picked up 1 or 2 things. And again, anything we can do from our side, please let us know. What can we do to help you be successful? Thank you so much.